Melania Trump may not move to Washington as planned. Report: the White House could get a little lonely for President Trump. First Lady Melania Trump and their 10-year-old son Barron may never permanently relocate to Washington, D.C., even though President Trump has said they'll make the move from New York City at the conclusion of the school year, Us Weekly reports. They will reevaluate toward the end of the school year if they will keep this arrangement or if Melania and Barron will move to Washington, a source close to the family told the magazine. They could go either way right now. They will ultimately do what's best for Barron. President Trump announced in November that Melania and his youngest child would remain in New York for the first few months of his presidency as Barron finishes his 4th grade year at a Manhattan prep school. Jason Miller, the transition spokesman for Trump, said at the time that there's obviously a sensitivity to pulling out a 10-year-old in the middle of the school year, according to the Washington Post. If Melania and Barron decide to extend their stay in Manhattan, however, it could prove costly for taxpayers. It cost more than $1 million per day to provide protection for President Trump and his family while he was still living in New York after the election, according to CNN. The city has not announced how expensive protecting just Melania and Barron is. Trump recently said his wife and son will regularly make the 200-mile trip from Manhattan to the nation's capital on days Barron doesn't have school. They didn't, however, make the trek last weekend amid the massive New York City protests against Trump's controversial temporary refugee ban, according to Us Weekly. They instead opted to remain in Manhattan. Despite their separation, the magazine's source says Melania is taking her First Lady duties seriously. Melania is actively building her team, including hiring a chief of staff, a senior advisor and a social secretary, among other key positions, the insider told Us Weekly. While she is a mom first, she is very much embracing the role and responsibilities of First Lady. Melania Trump may not